so vivid in her mind. She talk about it with other kids that just come up. My daddy killed my mama. You know, when she see ambulances, she think her mom's in the ambulance. She see police, she just terrified of the police, terrified. You know, and this what you did to a baby.
Imagine being so close to escaping the very person who should want to love and protect you. This was the case for Raven Gant of Minneapolis, Minnesota. Raven was a loving mother, daughter, sister, and friend. 27-year-old Raven is described as a beautiful light, according to Raven's brother, Ronald Gant III. Raven is also one who had a heart for fashion. Raven was fun, loving, the life of the room, probably the most fashionable in the room, Jaikara, a close friend of Raven, described. Raven's mother, Lakeisha Gant, described her daughter as a super hard worker. She was an accounts manager at the Union Depot Hotel. So, what exactly happened to this beautiful young woman on Thanksgiving in 2019? Raven Gant was a 27-year-old woman who lived in Minneapolis, Minnesota, with her 2-year-old daughter, JJ, whom she shared with her ex-boyfriend, Randall Watkins. Raven and Randall were in a relationship for about 3 years, but ended the relationship 1 month prior to Raven's death. According to Raven's family members, the relationship was very toxic, and Randall was very abusive. My daughter knew that she was being abused, and she tried to get out of it, Lakeisha, Raven's mother, said. But by the time she tried to get out of it, it was a little bit too late. According to Raven's brother, Ronald, the point where the family realized that she was being abused was 2 years prior at a family dinner. Raven arrived in terrible condition. She was bloody and all beat up. There were also several instances in which family members had confrontations with Randall. Ronald stated that their father tried to confront Randall the summer prior to her death, but Randall shot him. He did not make the police aware as he wanted to take matters into his own hands. My mom sent him to jail before she had gone to her house and saw Raven had a black eye, and she called the police. Ronald said he is not sure what happened afterwards, or if Watkins was prosecuted or sentenced, but that his sister did not testify against Watkins. She was done. He couldn't control her. She was hiding a lot of what was going on because of the type of father and brothers that she had. According to Ronald, because of this, she endured a lot. Randall also had a prior murder conviction from Illinois in 1995, when an argument over a small sum of money resulted in him shooting his friend in the back of the leg and head. During their relationship, Raven and Randall did not live together at any point. However, Raven had belongings at Randall's home in Minneapolis. On Thanksgiving Day, in the afternoon, Raven went to his home to retrieve her items that had been left there. Raven was unable to get her items because of a confrontation. During this confrontation, Raven allegedly hit Randall's car with her own car and proceeded to follow him. Randall then dialed 911. Officer Partika responded to this call around 5 p.m. and noticed that Raven was frustrated, but very calm. The officer tried to accompany her into his home to gather her items, but Randall refused. Officer Partika then brought up the idea of both parties selecting a specific date and time for Raven to collect her things. Again, Randall refused. Following this confrontation, Raven decided to return to her parents' home. Raven wasn't going to give up. Around 9 p.m., she told her parents that she would be right back. Little did they know that this would be the last time they would see their daughter alive. She then returned to Randall's home with their 2-year-old daughter to attempt to get her belongings once again. This was not going to be an easy fight for Raven. Raven and Randall both called 911 around 9:37. Raven spoke to the operator and stated that he would not allow her to get her belongings, and he also would not let her leave his home. Raven was stranded and unable to get out. She also told the operator that she believed Randall had a gun and a knife in the home.
At 9:37 p.m., Raven and Watkins make simultaneous 911 calls from inside the house. Raven telling the dispatcher she just wants her clothes.
Does he have any weapons at all?
Yeah, I'm sure he has weapons.
Does he have any weapons on him?
Right now, and I'm nervous, and I just want to leave here.
Watkins calls too, yelling.
He just kicked me in my face. He just kicked me in my face.
There would never be any indication that Raven actually assaulted him, court records show.
During Raven's call, Randall could be heard in the background yelling while making his own 911 call. Police officers did respond to their calls, but no one answered the door. The lights were off, and no one appeared to be home. Around 10 o'clock, Raven was able to call her dad and tell him that she was unable to leave his home. While she was speaking with her dad, Randall called 911 once again and told the operator that he had been punched in the face by Raven and kicked. All Raven wanted to do was leave the home, but this monster would not let her. During the trial, the audio was played to the jury from this exact call. Randall yelled at Raven and stated that she was not taking nothing out here. And Raven responded, "If you would just let me leave, I don't want to stay here." Randall then proceeded to tell the operator that Raven stabbed him. He was also heard telling Raven to move out of my way. Shortly after, a single gunshot could be heard. Officer Partica was on the scene to respond to the shooting. While the officer waited for others to arrive, Randall walked out of the house with his hands up and asked for assistance. Randall was then arrested.
After just about 2 minutes at the house, officers leave. Minutes later, Watkins calls again. Still inside the house, police just left.
Yes, I just called 911. I was trying to see how long it takes for the officers to come get my daughter, mom, on my house.
We're going to get them back out there. If anything changes, let us know.
Officers are redispatched, but records show they first drove several blocks away to use the bathroom and then decided to investigate a stolen car. Then, at 10:08,
And the officer's still not here.
a fifth call from this house. Watkins grows more volatile. The 911 dispatcher pleads with Watkins to calm down.
You need to get out of her face. Go to another room.
Little Arjaya can be heard crying.
In a whole nother separate room.
Finally, 6 minutes into that final call, nearly a half hour after officers knocked and left,
Move out my way, man.
a gunshot.
You need an ambulance.
A gun, which was later determined to be a .357 revolver loaded with hollow 5-point bullets, was found in his back pocket. Watkins did not appear to show any injuries. Once Officer Partica was able to get inside the home, their 2-year-old daughter was found upset and crying in the front room. Raven was on the floor unresponsive between the kitchen and dining room. The officer saw blood and began to administer CPR. A knife was found on the floor and taken as evidence. Raven was taken to North Memorial Medical Center, where she was pronounced dead. Raven's cause of death was a gunshot wound, and her death was deemed a homicide.
A young mother murdered after a flurry of 911 calls. Police came but left without ever speaking to her.
For 3 years, her mother fought for the body camera video that would show what happened. And tonight, Carol Levin Investigates Lauren Lemanchek has that video the city didn't want to release.
911 was there.
Why did police respond to a 911 call her daughter made that night and then just leave?
We just kept asking for the body cam footage.
For 3 years, the city refused.
Did you feel like they were stonewalling you?
I did. Absolutely, I did.
Finally, after a legal fight that cost a grieving mother thousands of dollars, a judge ordered Minneapolis to turn over the video.
Bad. They could have saved their life.
Lakeisha and her attorney, Oliver Nelson, are now suing Minneapolis police for wrongful death.
I don't think any reasonable person, much less a reasonable police officer, can look at the body cam footage and conclude that that was a thorough investigation into Miss Gant's domestic abuse allegations.
But did MPD do anything wrong?
This is a critical moment, and it could be because they're not answering. Something is going on inside that house.
Carol Levin asked multiple police experts to look at the reports and the body camera video. Among them, Mark Wynn, a former Nashville police detective who now trains police nationwide on domestic abuse response.
But you don't just drive away after 2 minutes and tapping once on a door. That's not proper response to a domestic violence call.
In 2020, almost a year after this tragic day, 41-year-old Randall Watkins was sentenced to 40 years in prison for the murder of Raven Gant, who he shot in the back on Thanksgiving Day, 2019. This was the maximum sentence that he could receive. During the trial, which took approximately 2 weeks, a Hennepin County jury convicted Watkins 41 of the 3 counts he was charged with: intentional second-degree murder, unintentional second-degree murder, and 1 count of a prohibited person in possession of a firearm. During the trial, the judge made a statement regarding the precious child who witnessed her dad end the life of her mother. She lost both her parents, and she saw her dad kill her mom, and she has got to live with that forever.
And she's lost both her parents. Worse, she saw her dad kill her mother.
Love you, baby. And with that, Raven's family gathered, finding some gratitude amidst the deepest of pain.
We're just thankful for the outcome today, and just wish that none of this had to happen.
Raven's mother, Lakeisha Gant, also made a statement saying, "We are just thankful for the outcome today and wish that none of this had to happen." This is not just another domestic violence story. Each story is unique and touches the lives and hearts of so many. Many times the victims tried to get out, but it's just too late. Raven's family is starting a foundation in her honor called Be Their Voice. It will give women a way to escape domestic violence. And that's all for today's video, and thanks for watching. Before you leave, make sure you subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications so you never miss any updates. I will see you in the next video. Take care and stay tuned.